Okay, hello. So if you're watching this video, you want to know about the first speaker of the opposition in the parliamentary debate system. So the first speaker of the opposition is also referred to as the leader of the opposition in the British parliamentary system. And you might hear it called this at some points, but all you have to remember for the debate is the first speaker of the opposition. But if you do hear leader of the opposition, then you know why. It's the same thing. So you have some main roles to do as the leader of the opposition, first speaker of the opposition. First, you should restate the motion and either agree or disagree with the definition. So normally, you're going to agree with the definition laid out by the proposition. If you disagree, you must say why, and then redefine the motion. So for example, if the proposition says, we should allow PED use in professional sports, and if you want to redefine this, you have to explain why you disagree with this motion. So it's not an easy thing to do, and it's not always a good thing to do. So generally, with the proposition, you're going to agree with the motion, with the definition. But unless you think it's ridiculous, unless you think it's very silly, you should agree. But if you think it's ridiculous, then disagree and say why you disagree, and then go along with your argument that you've already prepared. Also, you should state your main arguments after this. So you're going to say, if you agree with the motion, and you're going to say what the motion is, and then you're going to say you disagree with this motion for 3 reasons, and give your 3 main points. Then you are going to rebut Proposition Speaker 1's arguments. The Proposition Speaker 1 has already talked about, we're going to use this sheet, which you've already been given if you've seen me. If not, it's in the description below. Okay, it's a PDF file in the description. And they've already talked about P1, entertainment value, and P2, healthy if regulated. You are going to rebut these, or I'm going to, and you can see this here, no value in non-human sport, and athletes will push the limits. So these will be the rebuttals that you would do if you were having this argument. And then you're going to argue your first and second main points with any preemptive arguments that you can give. So what this means is you're going to argue opposition 1, which is not entertaining, and opposition 2, which is dangerous. Also, you're going to argue any preemptive attacks. This is where you can guess what the proposition might argue, what they might say in their third point. You already know what it is, but you're going to, because they said it, the first speaker said that, but you're going to kind of guess what they might say, and then say why this is already incorrect. And this really harms their argument. If you've already said it's incorrect before they've spoken, it's pretty good. So we're going to try to do that as best we can. So I'm going to follow this speaker role. I'm going to give you a sample. Please follow along with this sheet as you do, and I'll begin now. Mr. and Madam Speaker, the proposition team has put forth the motion to allow PEDs in professional sports. We disagree with this, and we believe that PEDs are a bad decision for 3 main reasons. We believe that we should not allow professional sports athletes to use PEDs for 3 reasons. Number 1, it's not entertaining at all. Number 2, it's dangerous. And number 3, drug testing works. So we're going to show you why these 3 points prove this motion should not pass. And before I look into the first and second main points of our argument, I'd like to rebut the first and second main points of the proposition team's argument. First of all, they've attempted to argue that this adds entertainment value, that somehow people want to see drugged up athletes, doing extraordinary things. Well, that's not what people want to see, okay? It has no value, right, in sports. People don't value non-human activity, right? They don't see it as special at all. Because what makes professional athletes so special is that they are better than regular people, right? In a natural way. But if you start allowing people to take PEDs, people are going to say, well, he's taking drugs, right? If I took drugs, I could do what he's doing, right? Or, she's on growth hormone. If I had growth hormone, I could jump that high. So it becomes more about the drugs and not about the people. right? It doesn't seem human anymore. And for their second point, they try to say it's healthy if regulated. This argument does have some merit, except for the main issue, and that is athletes will not stop with their doctor's recommendation, because they're always going to want to be faster. They're always going to want to jump higher. They're always going to want to score more goals and to hit more home runs. And just because their doctor says, you should not do this, they're going to push the limits, just like they're pushing limits now, right? They're using drugs that are illegal. They don't know how much they should be using, but they're putting it in their bodies, even though it's dangerous, because they want to push the limits and be better. If we allow it, they're going to think, well, this is what my doctor says, but I want to do more. And they're going to, and it's going to be disastrous, because across the board, people are going to be very, very sick. All right, so we'll show you now why it's not entertaining. Mr. Madam Speaker, people want to see humans. They don't want to see robots. They don't want to see genetically mutated people doing sports, right? We go to these sporting events because we want to see people that are kind of like us, but they're much better than us at sports. Otherwise, we're just looking at, specimens from a lab. Okay, PED use makes it non-human, right? It takes that human element out of the sport. It simply makes it into, who can have the most hormones in their body at one time, right? Who is genetically predispositioned to not getting sick from these PEDs. What people really want to see is effort and desire. They don't want to see how many needles someone can stick into their arm or into their backside. Right? They want to see people try hard. They want to see people desire to win. They want to see people persevere and practice, right, and get better. This is what sport is about. People understand this. People are not stupid, right? So people will stop watching if this happens. Plus, honest people cannot compete with PED users. There will still be many professional athletes who will not take PEDs because they understand that it's ridiculous. And those people will not be able to compete with these jacked up athletes, right, who are basically cheating. Is that what we want? Is that what we want to see? People don't want to see that, right? People want to see good, natural, competitive sport, right? That these results will basically be predetermined, right? If we have PED users against natural people, because natural people simply cannot keep pace with people who are on drugs. For example, if you look at blood doping is a way to put PEDs into your body by way of sort of taking out bad or used up blood and replenishing it with oxygenated blood. And what it does is it kind of takes away their fatigue and their perseverance and their persistence, and it just replaces them, makes them fresh again. But people want to see athletes who are struggling to finish, people who are struggling to get across the finish line or struggling to score goals, or that's what we want, right? We want to see the true value of sport and effort. Now, for our second point, we're going to show why it's dangerous. The other team has attempted to argue that it would be healthy if regulated, but this is not true at all. Obviously, doctors have no way to predict the long-term effects of PEDs, right? Maybe short-term. Maybe they can say, right now, you look good. Right now, this is a problem. Right now, this is this. But we can't define what those issues might be later. And many of these long-term issues don't come around for 10 or 15 years after they've taken the drugs. Athletes will also not follow the guidelines. This was in our rebuttal, right? They will push the envelope. They will try to be better by using more, and they're not going to follow the doctor's advice because they may disagree with the doctor. They may think the doctor's stupid. They may think, I don't care what happens to me. I need to be better now, right? A lot of people do that. And in physical sports, the chance of being injured will be much higher, right? Because these people are bigger and stronger. So in contact sports, people are going to get hurt much more. Broken legs, broken arms, concussions, broken necks, right? You're going to see a lot more of this because of the strength and the speed of these jacked up PED users. And as new steroids and PEDs emerge, right, we don't have any historic data. We don't know what they do. And they will emerge. There will be new PEDs. And as they come around and we start using them, we have no idea what they're going to do, what effect they're going to have in a negative way. And usually they're going to be very negative and they could be deadly. So we don't want these in sports. For example, Right? If you look at tackling in professional football, if the athletes are heavier and stronger, this means the tackling is going to be harder and stronger, right? Already in NFL, they have broken legs and they have concussions. They have people dying from head injuries, right? From prolonged getting hit in the head so many times, right? And this will actually increase the chronic traumatic encephalopathy, right? Which is a disease of the brain caused from concussions it makes it almost impossible to think, and it increases the pain in the brain, and people end up usually committing suicide, or they end up dying from other diseases. But it's incredibly horrible to watch, and this is just going to increase as people get bigger and stronger and they're hitting each other, because there's no way around it, right? It's already bad now, it's going to be 10 times worse. So clearly, the proposition team is going to probably try to say, that we can, there's nothing we can do about PEDs, and we just need to let it happen, and we can regulate it. This is garbage, right? We can stop it, we can control it, we can make people be natural, right? We're on that path, we're getting there. We're almost at 100% success rate. So don't listen to the proposition, don't listen to their lies. This motion must not pass, and we must protect sports at all costs. Okay, so that was the first speaker of the opposition, rebutting the proposition's case, and then also introducing their first two arguments. Next, we're going to look at the second speaker of the proposition. If you'd like to watch that video, you can go ahead. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, or if you see me in person, you can ask me then.